1980 Washington quarter. First, a bit of background. The Washington quarter was introduced back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was supposed to be a one-year design, but it became so popular that it stayed as the standard quarter design, and it's still in use today. The Washington quarter went through many changes over the years, but the 1980 quarter is a member of a special era. Here's why. In 1965, due to a rise in the price of silver, the U.S. Mint stopped using 90% silver in these coins. Instead, they switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1980 quarter is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel on the outer layers with a core of pure copper. This is the same composition used in quarters today. Now let's take a closer look at the design of the 1980 Washington quarter. On the obverse side, we have the classic portrait of George Washington, which was originally designed by sculptor John Flanagan. The year 1980 is found below Washington's bust, and the word liberty is placed above his head. You'll also find the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left of Washington. The reverse side features a bald eagle with its wings spread, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbolizing a strong nation prepared for peace or defense. This design was also by Flanagan and remained unchanged for decades until the introduction of the 50 States Quarter program in 1999. Let's talk about mint marks. A 1980 quarter can have one of three mint marks or none at all. A D indicates the coin was minted in Denver. An S means it was struck at the San Francisco Mint, but those are proof coins meant for collectors. No mint mark. Then it came from Philadelphia. Keep in mind that the mint mark is located on the obverse side just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Now, the big question, what's the value of a 1980 Washington quarter? While most 1980 quarters are worth face value 25 cents, some of them could be worth much more depending on their condition, mint mark, and rarity. Circulated coins that have been used in everyday transactions are typically only worth their face value. However, if you have an uncirculated quarter, especially one in pristine condition, it can fetch anywhere between $1 to $10. If you have a proof coin minted in San Francisco with an S mint mark, the value can go higher, especially if it's in perfect condition. These can be worth $5 to $15 and even more for cameo or deep cameo examples. But there's more. If you come across a 1980 quarter with errors or variations, such as off-center strikes or double dies, its value could significantly increase. Some of these error coins have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. 1995 Washington quarter. In 1995, this iconic design was still in use, making the quarter from that year part of a larger tradition. But what's unique about the 1995 quarter? Let's break it down. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar image of George Washington. His profile is strong and proud with the word liberty placed above, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the minting year 1995 at the bottom. Now let's take a look at the reverse. Like most Washington quarters up until 1998, the 1995 quarter features a bald eagle with its wings spread, clutching arrows and an olive branch. The motto "E pluribus unum" appears above the eagle, and United States of America and quarter dollar are inscribed along the edges. Now let's talk about mint marks, which play a key role in a coin's collectability. In 1995, Washington quarters were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark. Coins from Denver are marked with a D, and San Francisco coins are marked with an S and were only produced as proofs. Here's where to find the mint mark right behind Washington's ponytail. It's a small but crucial detail. As for production numbers, here's a quick breakdown. Philadelphia minted approximately 1.2 billion coins. Denver minted around 1.1 billion coins. San Francisco minted just over 2.1 million proof quarters, making them much rare now. Here's where things get exciting for collectors' errors. While most 1995 Washington quarters are standard, there are some notable error coins that can significantly increase their value. Some errors to look out for include off-center strikes. These occur when the coin isn't perfectly centered during minting. Double dies. This happens when the die imprints the design twice, creating a doubling effect usually visible on the lettering or numbers. A portion of the coin is missing due to an issue during the cutting process. These errors can make a 1995 Washington quarter worth much more than face value. If you come across one, it's worth getting it graded. 1991 Washington quarter. The 1991 Washington quarter continued this long-standing design. Although it doesn't celebrate any particular event, it remains a symbol of American history and economy. In 1991, quarters were minted in 3 major locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Let's break down the production numbers for each mint. From the Philadelphia Mint, a staggering 570,968,000 quarters were produced. The Denver Mint contributed 459,853,000 quarters, and the San Francisco Mint added 2,867,000 proof coins. The Philadelphia and Denver minted coins are circulating coins, while the San Francisco mints were specially made for collectors as proof coins. These proof coins were struck using a special process, giving them a sharp, highly reflective finished dot. When identifying a 1991 Washington quarter, you'll notice the mint marks. The P stands for Philadelphia, the D for Denver, and the S for San Francisco. The S mint mark is only found on proof coins, which makes these versions more desirable among collectors. Now let's talk about value for a standard 1991 quarter from the Philadelphia or Denver mint. Its value mostly depends on its condition. In circulated condition, these quarters are generally worth their face value minus 25 cents. However, if you have a coin in uncirculated condition, which means it has no wear or tear, its value can range between $1 to $5 depending on the grade. As for the proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, these can be worth a bit more, typically between $5 and $10, especially if they're in pristine condition with no scratches or blemishes. As with many coins, error varieties can significantly increase the value of a 1991 Washington quarter. Look for any unusual characteristics like off-center strikes, die cracks, or double die obverses. These errors can make the coin worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s depending on the rarity of the error. If you're a collector, a complete set of Washington quarters from each year can be an exciting goal. While the 1991 quarter isn't the rarest, finding it in uncirculated condition or with a special error can make it a valuable addition to your collection. 1969 Washington quarter. 1969 Washington quarter. In 1965, just a few years before the 1969 quarter, a major change occurred. Due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint transitioned from silver quarters to the copper-nickel clad composition that we still use today. So unlike earlier quarters, the 1969 version doesn't contain any silver. Let's break down the design of the 1969 Washington quarter. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington facing left. Above him, you'll see the word Liberty and the date 1969 is displayed just below. The motto "In God We Trust" is also on the front. In the reverse, you've got the American bald eagle with spread wings, clutching arrows, and an olive branch. This design has remained mostly unchanged since 1932, making it one of the most recognizable American coin designs. Now, let's talk about mintage and mint marks. In 1969, quarters were produced at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Quarters minted in Philadelphia will not have a mint mark, while quarters from Denver will have a small D mint mark to the right of Washington's ponytail. San Francisco quarters, which were proof coins, will have an S mint mark. If you have a 1969 proof quarter from San Francisco, it was struck with extra care for collectors. These proof coins are often shinier and more detailed than regular circulation coins. All right. Now to the part you've all been waiting for: how much is your 1969 Washington quarter worth? Generally speaking, most of these quarters, especially those from circulation, are worth their face value of 25 cents. But if you have a quarter in excellent condition, especially one that is uncirculated or a proof coin, you could be looking at higher values. For example, an uncirculated 1969 Washington quarter from Philadelphia or Denver in MS65 condition, which is a very high grade, could be worth $15 to $30 depending on the market. Proof quarters from San Francisco can fetch even higher prices, especially if they are in perfect proof 70 condition, reaching up to $40 or more. 1985 Washington quarter. By the time we get to 1985, the Washington quarter had already undergone some changes in its metal composition. The earlier silver quarters from 1932 to 1964 were replaced by a more modern copper nickel-clad composition starting in 1965. This was mainly due to the rising cost of silver. So the 1985 quarter falls into the copper nickel-clad era, meaning it doesn't contain any silver, but it still holds significant value for collectors today. Now let's talk about the design. The obverse side of the 1985 Washington quarter still features the iconic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. If you look closely at the coin, you'll notice George Washington's bust. This is the same bust that was introduced in 1932. The inscription's Liberty is inscribed above Washington's head, and below it, you'll see the words "In God We Trust." The date, the year 1985, is prominently placed at the bottom. On the reverse side, we have the image of an eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath, symbolizing both military preparedness and peace. Above the eagle, you'll see the words United States of America, and just below that, E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. Like most U.S. coins, the 1985 Washington quarter was minted in 3 different locations. Philadelphia no mint mark, the most common version of the coin. Denver D mint mark, slightly less common. San Francisco S mint mark, this one was made specifically for proof sets. The mint mark is located just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side of the coin. Production numbers: Philadelphia minted approximately 775 million quarters in 1985. Denver minted 519 million quarters. San Francisco minted around 3.3 million proof coins, which are usually in higher quality and packaged for collectors. Let's move on to what you've all been waiting for: the value. The value of your 1985 Washington quarter largely depends on its condition. Coin collectors typically grade coins on a scale from poor to mint state MS, which is a perfect uncirculated coin. Here's a quick breakdown. These are generally only worth their face value, 25 cents. Uncirculated or mint state coins: these are coins that have never been used in circulation and have no wear or tear. A mint state 1985 Washington quarter can be worth anywhere from $5 to $25, depending on its quality. Proof coins S mint mark: these are specially made for collectors and are usually more detailed and reflective. Proof versions of the 1985 quarter can be worth around $5 to $10, sometimes more depending on the demand. If you have a quarter with significant luster, no scratches, and sharp details, you could have something worth holding on to or selling for a premium. Like many coins, the 1985 Washington quarter also has some interesting error coins that are worth significantly more than the regular versions. Here are a few notable examples. Off-center strikes: if the image on the coin is struck off-center, collectors may pay a premium. These can be worth $50 or more depending on the extent of the error. Double dies: this error occurs when the design is doubled during the minting process. While not very common for the 1985 quarter, any double die variety could fetch $100 or more. Clip planchets: sometimes the metal blank used to create the coin is clipped before minting, resulting in a coin with a visible missing section. These can be valued at $10 to $50 depending on the severity and demand.